Alrighty, we are live for episode 5. Welcome to Coven Chat with my ever-expanding coven of very much chaos. I am LJ. First of all, before we start, we do want to send our thoughts to anybody affected by Hurricane Milton. I'm so sorry about everything going on, and this hurricane season is wild. So our thoughts are with all of you. Other than that, let's dive into some member introductions because let's say the Agatha Coven, every time that they kill one, we add one. So I'm going to go in the order on this screen. So Matt, let's start with you.
Yeah, hey, I'm Matt. I was here last week. It's really good to be back. I'm from a podcast called Debate This. If you're into podcasts and comic books and video games and also comedy, hey, we're one of those. Thanks for having me.
Of course. What about you, Blake?
So I'm Blake. I'm with Fundamentals Podcast. So we're pretty much on all streaming platforms. We cover the latest weekly in cinema shows and gaming, but super heavy into Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. But yeah, so everything else we cover that's not out of those realms, we just call that educated wish entertainment. But yeah, it's a weekly podcast. Every Sunday night we drop a new episode and we do celebrity interviews.
Perfect. And this is Blake's first Coven Chat behind the camera. So welcome. Going into Megan.
Hi, I am always here. I'm Megan from Vigilante Vibes, a Marvel podcast where we give you all the Marvel talk in a non-toxic way. And I am from Nerd Initiative, where we review comics, TV shows, and movies.
Yes. And Mr. Tom is back. Welcome, Tom.
Coming at you live and direct, straight from the Sanctum of Awesome. My name is Off the Cuff Tom, Nerd Initiative's pop culture connoisseur. LJ, Wen, Matt, Blake, Megan, Matt, always a pleasure. And I also from the Nerd Initiative as well.
And last but certainly not least, for his first behind the camera Coven Chat, we have another Matt, Matthew Benson.
Hi there. My name is Matthew Benson, and I'm an actor based in Connecticut, but I've watched all the Marvel content since, I don't know, like 10. It's like starting with like the first Avengers when I was in middle school and just been riding the wave since.
Okay, I'm too old. See you. Thanks.
All right. I was about to say, so that was when like you turned like 40. So we have quite the episode to unpack. So I have a super brief summation of the episode, and then I don't know. I am so much in my thoughts right now that I might actually let one of you start with the feelings, because I'm still like my brain is just blank. Like I'm still in shock. So basically, this episode, the Salem Seven made their way to the road due to the Coven failing to close their summoning spell when they summoned Rio, and they escape using their hexandessins. They rush into the next trial, which happens to be Agatha's, in the theme of an 80s slumber party. Everybody looked baller. After jokingly pretending to summon Mrs. Hart, they summon the real spirit, Evanora Harkness, who is Agatha's mother, who says she wants to punish Agatha, which very supportive mother. A possessed Agatha starts attacking the Coven, and after the lights are turned back on, Evanora appears. Alice tries to protect Agatha from Evanora, but is killed from having her powers drained. Teen confronts Wanda about her selfishness, but Agatha realizes who he is, saying, "You're so much like your mother." With the reveal, Teen controls Jen and Lilia, making them throw Agatha off the road, then throwing them both after her. The camera cuts back to Teen wearing a blue crown, very reminiscent of the Scarlet Witch. And I'm still processing everything that we saw yesterday. Like after the episode ended, I usually don't have very verbal or like physical reactions. It's all inside because I'm an introvert, but it was just my jaw was actually on the floor. I personally did not think that we would get that reveal in episode 5. I thought that would be like episode 8, episode 9. So I'm really interested to see what the Coven thinks going forward, / what is going on in the show to where they're already giving us the goods. Who wants to start us off?
I could go real quick.
All right.
am super glad that they made this reveal in this episode because it gives us 4 more episodes to like vibe in this space as opposed to an 8-episode lead up for one reveal, which I feel like has been all the other Disney Plus shows. So I'm super stoked on that. I feel like I caught on to something of where the show is going this week that I'm not super stoked on, but we can talk about it as the episode goes on. I feel like we might not be heading in the direction that I am jazzed about, but that's fine. I still really liked this episode. I really liked the reveal. That Billie Eilish song goes so hard, and
Yeah.
that was cool.
It could have been more a perfect song, honestly. Like that was the perfect song for that. Like,
It hits so much harder now because not only first of all, I always like that song, but now I associate it with Wiccan. And so now I have new things to add to the jam list that is nerdy.
it's always been a vibing song, but like it's the vibing song now because it's a Marvel vibing song. So
It has so much more meaning now.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they played a song by Billie Eilish, whatever her name is. And you just signified that's Billie. That teen is Billie.
That is true.
Oh,
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't even.
notice
I
that,
didn't.
but
I
that's
didn't
pretty
either.
good.
Yeah.
That's
Now,
great.
in the past, I've done like little bits of story to kind of push the chat along, but that's why I went ahead, just did the whole thing and tried to make it as short as possible because I was like, okay, that's what the people are here to talk about. Because overall, there's not that much else to talk about in the episode. Like there are crucial things that happen, but I knew everybody was gonna jump straight into the Wiccan of it all. I have 2 thoughts. One, I started getting a little sus when the Ouija board started spelling out Nicholas Scratch and teens said Nicholas Scratch. I was like, okay, well, clearly that's not his name because the sigil would have stopped him.
Yeah.
And so that's when I was like, okay, we're getting more into that territory. I did not know that we would go more into it. What was I going to say? And then you can just see the shift from when Agatha realizes who he is. And I think that that's when the sigil is broken. And then I think that it was broken for him too. And then that's why his whole demeanor changed because he had this flood of information come back to him.
Okay,
But-
did the sigil actually break is the question, because I didn't see the physicality of it. He could just have the mental go of it. Just saying.
I'm gonna have to agree with you with Tom because we didn't see it, so I don't know if it's really broken.
And what exactly was that oh shit moment that she realized that he's Wanda's kid?
So I think personally the oh shit moment was once she actually heard Nicholas's voice say "Mom, don't," or "Mom, stop," or whatever it was. She immediately knew that was the affirmation she needed. My son's nowhere inside him. And so when they got out of that house, because she was just worried about her getting out of that house, out of this trial, that's immediately what flipped, because that gave her, that took away any thought or, idea she thought that he might have something to do with Billy at all, or Wiccan teen, whatever. But yeah, that's what I think the switch moment is, when she heard her son's voice, and then she's like, all right, screw this, screw him. Yeah.
See, I think the switch moment is when teen said his name. And that showed that she was like, they are not the same person. And my son is dead because the board said his name.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because it's Coven Chat and we always get into the dark heartbreak of it all, I have a question for you. What if, because we didn't physically see Nicholas, what if instead of his spirit in that moment saying, "Mom, stop," what if we actually heard the soundbite from another theory that I have, is that it's proposed in this episode that Agatha might not be able to fully control her absorbing power. So my theory is that instead of in the trailers, we see that she says, because the truth is so much worse, or something like that. What if she accidentally absorbed Nicholas's power, killing him, and those were his final words, saying, "Mom, stop." I'll leave that there.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah.
I think that's neat.
Let's be honest. I mean, this thing's getting dark, and like that just adds to the darkness that's gaining. And yeah, I mean, I love how the very beginning starts out saying what the darkest hour, the darkest something, and immediately I was like, okay, I think this is gonna be our darkest episode we're going to get, honestly. And it was pretty dark. I mean, just like her mom saying, she was born evil. I should have killed her since she came out of my body. I was like, oh my God. Like
that's how my mom felt, but
that's some dark stuff right there. I mean, yeah. For being so short, I feel like it went so dark.
My mom told me that in private, though, not in a group of my friends.
I will have to say, with as far as up Matt said, the idea that dropping it now, I honestly probably could have gone one more episode. Because how much of it are we going to go into, oh, we got to resolve this and do a finale versus, hey, resolution and finale at the same time?
When you could go.
Matthew Benson, you have not been able to talk this entire season. You get first dibs. Go for it.
I am going to personally strongly disagree, mainly because it is Teen, Wiccan, Billy, Kaplan, Maximoff. The character.
That's his legal name. All of that.
All of it. Yeah, it's all hyphenated. Crazy.
His story is very complex, and how he, like, with the switching of the souls and everything. And I know Marvel likes to really simplify stuff. So I think with them starting the reveal halfway through the season gives us this time to really process and understand how this all worked out necessarily. Would it have been great if it has been episode 6? Honestly, maybe. But then I feel like this episode would have just, to me, because it was so short, there wouldn't have been that extra cliffhanger other than Alice being dead, supposedly. Who knows? And
notice how we haven't even brought that up. Like, that's not even the biggest thing that happened in the episode.
Literally, I'm like, oh gosh, no. But that's why I'm like, I feel like now that was a good time for it, because it was also what we all were wanting at the end of the day. We all wanted this. We were like, well, most of us wanted it. I know I did, but
I don't care who didn't want it. I did. That's all that matters.
Same.
Funko wanted Funko wanted
Does anyone think they're not on the road? That this is just another hex?
I think that so I have a little theory. So sorry to ramble, but I really think this is all happening in the night, and they didn't move at all because I don't know, just something about the vibes. It was very quick paced. Everything got resolved very quickly, and there really wasn't much conflict. Or it all happened. But you know how Lilia had a vision in the beginning of the Salem 7 entering the road? I feel like once they left the trial, they were in another, like, futuristic vision that Lilia had of an outcome that could happen right after the trial.
And she did say at one point, what is the quote? I didn't type this one down, but something to the effect of one of the scenes, it being the second time that she's experienced.
Yeah.
I forget what the quote is, though. I'm usually much better at that. I was too shooketh. I did not write it down. But like,
Lilia's acting weird again.
Something about last time, or but this, I think there's way more to the mystery we have. I'm gonna pop in. So Cameron Cole says, I don't think Teen being Billy is really meant to be quite the mystery people build it up as. Hence the reveal halfway. I think the real mystery is how he was reincarnated and who created the sigil. Which I agree. I think the next episode, this is just leading into like, oh, okay, we're finally learning more about Teen, and I think that's where we're going to start.
Yeah, I think that scene that we see in that metal room, or like, I don't know how you explain that room is, but
I can't quite hear you.
No.
Hold up. You got funky ears. Try it. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, clear as day.
Oh, okay. Then just speak louder.
Me?
Yeah.
Fine. Can you hear me at all? Can you hear me now?
Somewhat.
Somewhat. It's super low still.
Let me see.
That magic cat. Yeah, I can't do that. So
Okay, so
does
I'll
anyone
throw out
else
my
think?
thing. I'll throw out my thing.
No,
So if you guys have watched
go
some of my
right ahead.
theories on Lilia,
Uh-huh.
I really do think that she's not necessarily clairvoyant. She is living in multiple timelines at the same time and just keeps shifting back and forth in her physical form.
Okay, I like that.
I'll agree to
So
that
that's
one.
why you'll see her. Yeah.
Well, think about the things that she has said in the past few episodes where she just starts yelling out. She says, you have to save Agatha. And she says, no, Alice, no. I think that's what it is. And so was she just watching this episode in time?
I definitely think
Welcome
that the next episode has to be focused on her. Like we have to, because I mean, honestly, even though each trial's been really focused on one witch, we've gotten multiple things by each witch on each episode. I think Lily has been the one we've gotten the biggest pieces of, no matter who the trial's focused on. And so I think we almost have to find out what's going on with her this next coming episode. Honestly,
2 words: Patty frickin' Lapone. That's it.
yeah. You're right.
He
You're
got
right.
Well, I would think that
That
this
is
next
royalty.
episode would be about Billy, since Marvel did go and cast someone to play supposedly his dad.
Yeah.
So what other episode would that be?
His mom and his dad, yeah.
Specific actor.
Right.
I
Yeah,
think
they said they
he's-
wanted authentically Jewish actor.
Yeah, and I mean that makes sense. I almost 100% bet that it is like them driving in a car and it's going to be that car wreck.
Yeah.
Like
That's the
we've
only thing
been
they would
hearing.
cast for. It's just a 2-second car ride.
I mean,
Well, they did film. I believe they filmed at a Jewish temple.
Oh, really? I
Oh.
didn't know that.
Megan was there.
I was there.
I
mean, at
I
this
want
point,
to jump in. I want to jump in and say, Megan and Matthew, what both of y'all said before I blipped out for a second. I like that a lot more than what I got from this episode, because this whole episode, or I guess from this episode, I put together like, oh, we're doing a time loop thing. Like, this isn't the only time we're going to do this whole road situation. And I was a little bit bummed out by that, because that's just Loki season 2. And I didn't really want to do like a whole second time loop thing right after we did it. But I like the idea a lot more of like, whether this is another hex or this is some sort of other situation, because it does feel like Lilia is recalling a future time that they do this, or is like flashing in some different way to another trip on the road. And there were a few things in this episode that just made it feel like, oh, they're really setting up to do a time loop. Like, they're killing everybody off really quickly. They're making it so like we're all going to pop back up and we're going to do this whole thing again, but different this time. So I like the idea that it's magic related and it's not we're doing another time loop.
Okay,
See,
so
what if they
we're
wanted
gonna.
to think that, but since this show is so dark, they're like, oh, just kidding, they're really all dead. We just went through all that for real.
So it's definitely the earbud that y'all swapped, because I can hear him clear as day now, and now we can't hardly hear you.
I'll be louder.
Oh, that's perfect. just
So
keep
here's-
whispering in his ear.
Here's my thing: we've got 4 episodes left, right?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I think we're all kind of on the same idea that Lilia is jumping back and forth between time mentally. Okay, episode 6, we're already on the yellow part of the road, and I got that whole my idea that the color of the road denotes whose trial it is. Based on what their colors were when they were opening the door, she was yellow. So I think we're going to get this. Next episode is going to be her. Then we're going to have to deal with 6. 7 is going to be Teen. 8, we're going back to Lilia. 9 is going to be Rio's and the finale.
I like
I think
it.
episode.
It upset me though because I
mean-
just want all team for the rest.
I
I'm gonna be
really-
really mad if they drop that bomb and then we have to wait a whole nother week to even explore it.
Well, I strongly think that they're going to do a jump back to episode 1 through Teen's perspective and give us a prelude into how he just showed up randomly in Agatha's house.
Mephisto.
I mean, for all we know, could be. He's in Fortnite now, so anything's possible.
That really got me. That's really good.
He is. No, me being a sucker, I really want more Billy Kaplan content. So I really think we're going to get that one episode. And I really think it's going to be the next one to just take a break, marinate, and let us think about what just happened. Then episode 7 is going to be Lilia's trial and to do with the tarot cards. And then 8 and 9 are going to be the finale. I don't know what. And all I know is that Lilia probably is not going to make it. And it makes me so sad. I just feel it.
I mean, that makes sense because let's be real. I mean, majority of the Marvel Disney Plus shows that we've had, there's always been like that midway point or right past the midway point where we always get a flashback. I wouldn't say filler season, but sometimes they're filler episodes, but then or they're flashback episodes to give us more to the story, and so that could very well because they left us right here on the edge watching Wiccan throw all the witches off the road. And so, what do you want more than know what happens next? Guess what? Yeah, wait, 2 more episodes because the next one's going to be nothing but flashbacks or preludes or whatever. So, man, now that I just realized that, I'm so mad.
Yeah, that makes the most sense of just formulaicness of it. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So before I say anything else, can we hear me better now?
Nope.
Not really.
No.
All right, wonderful. So I did want to take it to the chat, and sorry, I'm about to be very loud. Really quick, because there's a few that popped in, and Finn had a really good thing. So she says, Alice, don't, and try to save Agatha, going back to Lilia, which turned out to be Alice, don't try to save Agatha. So maybe they're all just jumbled. And I kind of like that. So we're getting partial quotes that we can put together.
Right.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I also believe Kayla says the next episode is probably going to show us everything going on in his life all the way up until Teen breaks into Agatha's house. So we have seen a shot in the trailers of the interrogation scene, but from the realistic part. So I also believe that. And then I'm trying to get through them all because we missed a few. And then finally we have Cameron says the theory. The theory is the Kaplans are on their way to Billy's bar mitzvah, and that's when the car gets hit. He suspects the next episode is going to be about that and the Billy backstory, especially after that cliffhanger. Going back to his backstory is the most MCU way to do it.
It really is, honestly.
Yeah.
Because tradition.
I do like most of that. I don't know that they'd be going to his bar mitzvah, though. I think he's too old for that. He would have already had it.
It's
Yeah,
true.
He says a
That's
lot of
more
stuff
like
happened when he was 13.
Isn't that when you go to be a 13-year-old, when you go into teenhood, it's supposed to be manhood for the Jewish community?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know enough about it. I'm
No, that-
kind of speculating on it.
But that does make sense. If it was 3 years ago, then that probably would be around the same age as the bar mitzvah thing, though. I think.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it would be.
if the wreck was 3 years ago only.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Jai, I'm
I
pretty
like that
sure-
one.
Pretty sure it was.
I mean, they're going to have to do something to explain that age jump, though.
What if it's even more involved in the Scarlet Witch than we realized? Like, what if they were fleeing from Westview because they were
Please.
under the hex?
If more you want to involve Scarlet Witch,
Yeah.
I'm here for it. Bring her back. I am pro Wanda. So
Yeah.
I mean, that would be I like that the best.
I do too.
Because it just links it more in with WandaVision.
So
It
I do
brings
have
it
one
back
thing.
to that.
One thing
Miss
to
Hart
ask
thing.
is please tell me I'm not the only one. So when they very, very first started doing the Ouija board, and
Yes.
it goes to M, and I'm like, oh,
Yes.
but then it goes R, and then it goes SHAR. I thought it said Mr. Shart.
Yeah,
And
I knew you.
and I'm like, What? And then it clicked. I was like, "Oh, Mrs. Hart."
Can
And
I
was
play
like,
Scrabble again, too, Blake?
yeah.
Dude, I didn't
Oh,
realize
man.
it until they actually said Mrs. Hart out loud. The whole time I was like, Agatha, you jokester.
Yeah.
And then they said it. I was like, oh, I'm just dumb. Okay. Got it.
I debated on mentioning that. I'm like, no, I'm gonna go ahead and mention it. Let's be real.
That
I knew
didn't
someone
fool
would.
me.
Oh,
Like,
it got me so
from
good.
I got excited for a split second, and then I remembered the ongoing joke though of she never wanted to be called Miss Hart.
Right.
Yeah.
So
True.
she wouldn't have introduced herself as Miss Hart.
No,
So
no.
the second Agatha started
Sorry.
like twitching and talking, I was like, nah, that ain't her.
The planchette would have like slammed down.
How about that line also that Aubrey Plaza Rio said when she's like, "Who better commune with the dead on this trial than someone who's put so many people in the grave?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
another dark jab."
Speaking of her, where was she?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
did she go?
Time vibing, doing her own thing.
Did she take it? Is she doing something with Alice? Because Alice died.
Yeah,
but
I think she's
True.
deaf, and she was busy doing her job,
I think so too.
I
Another thing,
think
what
so
you're-
too. No,
and
no,
that's why
please go.
she crawled out
Go
of
ahead.
Mrs. Hart's grave, was because she
Mhm.
was the closest witch because she was getting Mrs. Hart.
Yeah.
Gross.
I kind of hope that like next week or maybe the week after we get to see what death does with those bodies, because just to add to the dark horror of it, like if they go back into that house looking for her and she's like chopping up Alice in the corner or something like that, since this was the kind of 80s horror flick episode, like
Yeah.
I think that would be really
Well,
cool.
That would be sick.
Because it's Aubrey Plaza, I'll be very disappointed if it's not just her jaw completely unhinges like Pennywise style and she just eats them.
Incredible.
Do we think though, like anybody, not anybody, but like any corpse that's left on the road opens a portal to like the normal world, like back up to Westview? Or do you think only because of the spell that they did for resurrection for a green witch, that was the only portal that we're going to see?
That would
Yeah,
be the
it was
only
a
portal because
summoning.
they physically
Yeah.
made a manifestation out of the leaves.
Yeah.
So it
Mhm.
was them opening up the road
Yeah.
as opposed to leaving something on top of
Yeah.
the road.
But Ryu
Yeah, and they
came out of
summoned her.
Miss Hart's, like I thought they buried her, and then
did.
no, yeah, I thought they buried her off the
Oh,
road,
yeah.
and then they did leaves on the road.
Yeah,
No,
they
That's true,
summoned
but I think
another witch.
I think the outline of the body wasn't necessarily for her to appear in it. I think it was just like symbolism of the body.
Yeah.
And,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and since Audrey Plaza was already right there,
Yeah.
It's either that or that's where she was supposed to appear, and Rio was just like, "No, I'm gonna F with these bitches."
How about the deal? How every time they went through a trial, they keep getting lower, and this was the first trial where they actually went up.
yeah,
Yeah.
Ah,
yeah,
interesting. I didn't even notice that.
Like I really liked it where you seemed like they kept going through, a deeper layer, a deeper layer, a deeper layer.
Mhm.
Because to me, you're like, oh, I'm getting close to that hell realm, Mephisto. But then this is the first time, and we go back up, and I'm like, okay, now I'm confused. And that also makes me wonder, like y'all were talking earlier, was this really a real trial, or was this a something not quite kosher? Because they exited up when every time they went deeper and deeper. And to me, going down the witch's road, makes more sense to me than this last time. I don't know. There's so many weird and
Well-
off things about this one.
I get what you're saying. What if the trial never ended and Wiccan
Yeah.
was a part of the trial? Because like you
Mhm.
said, they went up, not down, and then everyone dies. I mean, it's Agatha's trial. She's the worst witch there is there. Or in general, I don't know. She's probably cool. But you mean to say that you win, you get through your trial just by someone else saying your dead son's
Mhm.
name when everyone else had to do potions and all these things to get out? Or
Right.
it's still going. So
What I think this just brewed. What if Agatha's trial, because it was The trial wanted some spirit to possess Agatha so that the other witches would have to fight off the spirit. So what if the trial, since it was Agatha's, it was testing her to not absorb their power and not to turn against and to work with the Coven to solve it? So what if they actually failed the trial?
Huh. Well,
I-
she did
So-
say that she couldn't control absorbing it, but at that point, you already
Mhm.
killed Alice. Everyone's already pissed at you. Why would you lie?
Yeah, I
What's the
have
point?
2 things on that. I think that, first of all, I think they passed the trial. And I think the punishment, what she had to relive what she did. This whole show, she's been running from it. She's been running from it. I didn't do that to my son. I didn't do that.
Right.
Let them think whatever. But then in that moment, she heard her son's voice. That in that moment, psychologically, she faced it. She had to accept what she did, and she had to say, "Yeah, he's dead. There's no, he's."
And
a
it can also
voice.
be the fact that the teen is not her kid. Coming to that
Mm.
realization as well.
Mhm.
And dealing with her mother, and she killed
Yeah.
a witch that saved her from the possession of her
Mhm.
mother. So there's actually like 3 to 4 different things. It may have not seemed as special or in depth to us, but if you think about it, it was actually 3 or 4 different things back to back to back. That happened to
Mhm.
Agatha on this.
And
What if-
my other, go ahead, Megan.
Oh, I keep interrupting everyone. I'm so sorry. What if this wasn't Agatha's trial? What if it was Rio's? If you think she's death, this was all about death.
I
It's
feel like
true.
Rio does kind of, it's true, but at the same time,
But
I feel like
I-
Rio was just kind of the happiest still, kind of prancing around, just like do. Even like when they flew on the branches, she gave like the perfect witch laugh, by the way.
Yeah,
But
that's
like,
great.
but she still, it don't seem like she's still taking too much of this real serious.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
wonder if she'll even have a trial.
Not
Yeah.
Rio's trial, based on this. See,
Mm,
I say Cameron says, I'm not really sure if it's
Agreeing.
Agatha's trial. Jen solved it into the first trial, which is hers. Alice was second. Billy solved it into this trial, and the exit opens because of him. So maybe we're all barking down the wrong tree.
I don't know. I don't know. I still think it was Agatha's trial. I also do not think that she can control the absorption. I think it
I
is a
agree.
defense mechanism that just
Mhm.
triggers, and it's almost, when she starts, it's almost like a drug addiction.
yeah,
It
and
like,
that's
it takes
how
her over.
that's how I took it. Honestly, it was
Yeah.
like it was just overwhelmingly she loved it. I mean, like the look on her face and what she was
Mhm.
portraying, it was like a surprise at first, but then it's like, oh, I know I'm killing you, but I can't stop. Like
Yeah, she got
Yeah.
that high.
I will
Yeah.
go with what you guys are putting out there, but put it this way: I think that because of it, it's an after effect of her powers from the Darkhold. Because if she sacrificed Nicholas for the Darkhold, this is the curse of having to use the Darkhold, that she can also control her powers.
But
I
the
think-
Darkhold is gone, so that contract is over. There's no curse. They're all gone.
It's true.
I
That's
think
true, too.
that
Mephisto.
was the evil that Agatha's mom said she was born with. I think is that she is, her power is absorption, right? Like I think
Mhm.
that there was
Mhm.
probably a very early event in her life where she sucked the goo out of one of her mom's friends at Welcome Wagon or something, and
Yeah.
that was she's been evil from the start. Because
Yep.
I
She's an
rewatched the
abomination.
Yeah, I rewatched the episode like right before I got on the call, and I really paid close attention to after they came out of the trial and Teen was asking Agatha, like, why did you do that?
Mm-hmm.
You can really tell that Agatha at least is presenting as though it truly wasn't intentional. And I know that kind of
Yeah.
the whole bit of WandaVision was that like Agatha's pretty good at pulling one over on people and lying. And I do think it would be interesting if the wrap of this series was like, nope, Agatha's just evil. She just is real evil. Sucks, doesn't it?
Nah.
But
That's what I
don't
wanted to
think
be.
that's going to be the vibe. I think that it's going to be like,
Yeah.
she doesn't, you got to blast her with your powers for her to take it because she doesn't try to take it. It just happens. Is kind of
Mhm.
my thought there.
I really hope that she ends up just being evil at the end of this. Like, I just want her just to be no. I mean, like Marvel. Don't get me wrong. I like it when they kind of do it where you can kind of they're bad, but you still understand why they're bad. Like, let's just let her be. Let's give us a villain that's just a villain. Just let her be evil. It's okay. We don't have to understand every villain in Marvel. I like how we did Thanos, Loki, and all that, but I don't know. I like her being evil. Like how she snapped, towards Wiccan.
Oh yeah,
there at the end.
yeah.
I was like, ooh,
That
I didn't
little
think I'd
smile
like it.
that formed.
Yeah, I was like, I love this.
Yeah, part of me thinks because like I genuinely think that this is just her like being evil. I do think that she is slightly lying and that she does know how to do this because she's like over like hundreds, thousands of years old. She knows what she's doing, more or less. I think her talking to Teen being like, "You're so much like your mother" was a bait trick. Like how what she was trying to do in the basement in the beginning of episode 2 with the other witches for them to blast her to get more power. Because if you noticed when she was like looking at like her palm, like luminescing at the power, it vanished. And I'm like, I don't know if it's like, if she's like probably like needs more for it to like ignite, I guess, which is why she was like, what can I say to him knowing that he's not Nicholas Scratch to just have him like try to do something for me to gain.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I think 100% you're right when it comes to she needs a little bit more power to be able to, keep it sustained. But like, I don't necessarily know that I don't think she necessarily knew that he would get his powers right then and there and he would do what he did. Because I think it would have been a little bit more, she would have antagonized him a little bit more or something, because she was completely caught off guard by him controlling the other two and then escorting her out, and all that. So I don't think she expected that. But like, I really feel like some part of Wanda is this kid, honestly. But with that being said, though, do we think that, that's when she says your mom, is this a purpose misdirect to just, give us another Ralph Boner moment and we get all pumped up and we find out 2 episodes later, we're like, this is not at all do with Wanda. Like, I feel like it needs to be Wanda. I feel like it needs to be, I want it to be, but like, you know how MCU is sometimes though, like they've misdirected us and then it not be as fulfilling as we were hoping.
I feel like Jack Schaefer has learned her lesson though with WandaVision going forward, because there were all those like Easter eggs and all those hints of honestly kind of like missed opportunity for something to be explored. And I really feel like everything in this show definitely has a purpose.
I'm good with that. I hope so. I really, really hope so. Because so far, I mean, to me, I think this is one of those seasons, like, I was excited for it because, like, I was a big WandaVision fan. Like, I'm in love with WandaVision. I watched it at least, I don't know, I've watched it already 3 times this year alone. But literally, I don't know. I just want it to be fulfilled. Like, it's so strong. And I think it's one of those that not a lot of people just like built up like Loki, but at the same time, I think it's surprising and everybody's falling way more in love with it than they expected to.
I think we're going to find out more about Billy because there's a lot of little things that aren't really talked about. Like, why is it Billy? Why is he the one that gets the hints in every trial?
Yeah.
Why did this trial feel like it was Billy's trial?
And
And
he's actually the one that communed with the dead.
There you go.
He actually communed with the dead. I mean, honestly, and that's what this was about. So yeah.
Also, why in the Ouija board it said it was talking to death? If we think Rio is death, how did that happen? Was Rio controlling a lot of going on? Allegedly.
Well, that brings up another theory I had way back till it got like kind of retconned in my own head. At the end of the episode, we see the background. Well, we see Billy, teen, Maximoff, boy, man, child, with the crown, and there's a blue, but the background is a bit more green than it is yellow. But then when we first enter that new phase of the road, part of me was like, well, we didn't see Rio. What if Rio low-key took Billy, teen, child, boy, and during the night and like manipulated his mind, was like, I could tell you who you really are because I know you're lying, and conducted all of this while she was just like astral projecting herself through the road, because if she is death, I don't see why she can't do that, being many places all at once. Got to collect them bodies. And was just like, here are your powers. Do this because so and so was making me mad. Or yeah.
I do think the one thing I did catch the second time I watched this episode that was interesting was the wording of the question they asked the Ouija board when it responded with death. Because the question that they asked wasn't like, whose spirit is this? It was, who is here with us tonight, or something along those lines.
Okay.
And it spelled out death. And then Rio kind of chuckled. It was like, ha, that's funny. So I think, yeah, I think that was whatever spirit that they were communing with, Evanora Harkness, Nicholas Scratch, something else, saying like, oh, well, death is in the room with us right now. Isn't that neat? As opposed to like, that's who you're talking to right now. Yeah. I mean,
and it could go ahead.
Okay. I was just going to throw out real quick. I also think that there's going to be something with Billy Spellbook that's going to be super relevant.
Yeah.
Loki, I think it's the Darkhold, but that's neither here nor there. I do think that Billy Spellbook is going to end up being really relevant.
Do you think they'll find it? Because it's lost right now, right? Why they took off flying, he lost it.
Yeah.
Salem 7's gonna find it.
That's
you
got it.
Yeah, there's a connection with that book. Maybe that's what was cursed to put the sigil on him, and that's what broke it, or something. There is something with that book. There's no reason why they would have him lose it.
Or he makes his own Darkhold.
Yeah.
That's
my theory.
That's where I am.
It's my theory from last week. That book is filled with Post-it notes.
Well, what if it's actually that was a book that Wanda had when she was out in that cabin? At the it's an end credit scene of WandaVision, wasn't it? Where she's out in that cabin and she's like hovering, she's doing her thing, but also hovering, studying the Darkhold. What if this was all of her notes of all these spells that she thought might lead to her finding her boys? And then somehow he got a hold of that, and then that's actually what it is. It was Wanda's personal handwritten note spells from the Darkhold. Just the one, not the whole Darkhold, but just the ones that she thought, might help her find them. And that's kind of like where that connection came from. And I still think that part of her soul and that poof of red magic of Mount Wondagore, went into him. That's still my theory of that. I think part of her soul went into him.
Instead of writing it all down, Matt, you're like, oh, Lord, I'm going to start a live stream. Hey, everybody, I'm reading the Darkhold here. That's just what Team had. He's very internet savvy. He knows all about Jen because of that. So maybe he interwebbed some of it.
So, like, going off of that, if there was in my own perfect world where I get the ending that I want for an end credit scene, it'll be a teen walking down the road on his phone. They're running into Kamala Khan, drops the phone, but he catches it with magic. And then she's like, I bumped into the right person. And then Young Avengers. At the end of this show. That'd be it.
She gets her second Nick Fury moment.
Avengers. That's all we ever
I know Blake, Matt, and Matt haven't heard my theory from before. But remember, my old theory was, and going off a little bit of everybody's saying here, it might still hold true that the kid is still part of the living manifestation of the walking Darkhold.
Okay.
So going in with, maybe his spell book is that, maybe it's, hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like that. It would be creative.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I have looked up what Funko put out there, so I just, I'm trying to just play as coy as possible.
Yeah.
The one thing that'll rest my hat on is that I really don't think that the Darkhold is destroyed. Any of you Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. sickos out there, the first time.
It's all canon! It's all canon!
I don't know that I go that far, but I do really like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And the Darkhold
I'll debate this. Let's go.
The Darkhold storyline in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Is pretty in line with the comic history of the Darkhold, and it's sort of like matter. Like, you can't really destroy or create it. It simply exists in some form somewhere. And certainly the MCU is like playing a little fast and loose with that. But I think that, there is that scene in episode 1 or maybe episode 2 where, no, it was episode 1 for sure. Teen has dark fingers And he was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it's dirt from digging outside,"
Yeah,
and that
yeah.
seems like a pretty lame excuse to have dark fingertips in this show.
I think it's from the ink from fingerprinting, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Oh, whatever. Yeah,
fingerprinting.
that's
Yeah.
a better answer, but still
Yeah.
not good enough.
No, 100%, because we all know he really was never getting fingerprinted and no cop, no police
Yeah.
stations. So.
We didn't hear
Zero
anything you said, my
answer.
friend.
I feel after this episode, I have 0 new answers and just I have too many questions. I need a few of them answered. I'm
So
going nuts.
I'll be honest with you. Every episode since we've started, I feel like the next episode's been semi-predictable, or we kind of know what path and direction it's going. And for me personally, this is the first episode. When it ended, I have no idea where they're going after this. We have our theories,
I mean, it
and our
blew all
thoughts,
my theories out.
but like it's nowhere near predictable as it has been since the beginning. And I'm not gonna lie, that makes me happy too.
I'm
It
pissed they killed
stresses
Alice
me
that
out.
quickly.
Ugh.
Do what?
Shit. I'm so mad they did that. Like she was
Mad they did
like
what?
she gave him the broom.
Killed
Like she
Alice.
was just looking out for Billy the whole time. And I was like, out of
Yeah, it's
all
gonna
of them,
be-
why couldn't you have taken out the other one? Like, oh my god.
It's gonna be awesome when she comes back to life in 3 episodes. I tell you what.
Yeah.
I am.
I don't
usually,
think that'll happen, but I hope it does because I
I'm
want Miss Hart back.
usually putting dead until I see a body type of person, and I'm
We did
fully
see a
aware
body.
that we have seen 2 bodies. I am my own worst hypocrite. However, I feel like whatever time loop, hex, whatever situation we're in, the reveal is gonna be that Alice and Sharon / Mrs. Hart aren't actually dead.
What if the very, very end of the Witch's Road, it's like the end of the trial, whoever it may be, or whoever's whatever, because we still see scenes in promos of Alice that we haven't seen yet, and just like you said earlier, of Wiccan as well. So like, what if at the end, like the very last trial is, Agatha, all these people that you've killed along the way, now you have to actually, I don't know, maybe give her a chance to, hey, kill all of them and get this power, but it's like a trick trial at the very end, or she has the chance to save them and she thinks she won't get the power, but she will, but she ends up, whichever route that may go. I don't know. Just different thoughts just popped in my head. So I'm sitting here thinking, like, what if there is like some big final like battle scene between them all, or some big fight where she has to save them or let them die? I don't know. It's just something that just randomly popped in my head. I did not have notes on that part, so or left field tangent.
I mean, the road gives you what you're missing, and she's missing her coven now. So
true.
Yeah, is she?
Wow.
Tell me this, why
space? Yes.
Why do y'all think that, like, unless he was just overcame with this power and couldn't? Well, I feel like it was super controlled, but like, why do you think he threw the other 2 off the road? I mean, like,
He's
just
an
getting them off the road.
teenager who's 16. Why not?
It's because
I'm over
he
this.
got mad. He got mad when the one, I forget what her name is, with the makeup.
Jennifer Kale.
Jen. When she walks by and she's like, "We're all here for the power." It kind of snapped for Teen then, so I'm thinking maybe you all are the same. You all are just a bunch of witches.
Because let's be honest,
I'm just going to get you off the road. I'm going to take you off the game.
He seemed very in control of his power.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he possessed them 2 to do what they did to her, and he got done with them.
Yeah, and we have a scene that hasn't been shown yet where they're all crawling out of the ground. So it's not like he killed them. They're obviously just going back up to the town.
But what if now that he knows that you just need the coven to get on the road, now that he knows people can die on the road, he's like, all right, nobody else is getting hurt. I'm doing this by myself now.
Yeah.
Bye. So it's not like a malicious. Maybe he's actually trying to save.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And he just had a realization that Agatha is a murderer.
One true thing.
Clicked for him.
Deontay's in the chat. He's actually from Fundamentals as well and Saturday Night Nerds. But he said, "No body, no death," and we know how true that is in Marvel. So
We saw a body, Deontay.
Yeah,
well, Alice. But
Yeah.
We
the
saw
other three,
Alice's body.
but the other three we didn't. I mean,
Yeah,
they
they're
sunk it to
alive.
the ground.
They're-
That's it.
Yeah. That's why it
Yeah.
goes into my theory that like it's either the trial didn't finish or it's all one big hex. Because
Mm.
I mean, we saw Bill, like you said, Billy was really in control. He has control over his powers, and he is smart enough to know not to attack Agatha out of emotion, that he just made the other two do it
Mhm.
for him so she couldn't suck his
Yeah.
powers.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was so smart of him too. Like,
Did y'all happen to see?
He's just such a swell guy.
Like about an hour before we got on here, I was watching the YouTube channel, and I didn't have time to go back and look. But do y'all remember? I heard someone said they thought they seen like ruins on Teen's shirt or jacket or something. It seemed like they thought they seen ruins on his clothes that he was wearing. And
There are a lot of patterns and like symbols on it. There, from what I've seen, there are no like runes that we've seen before.
okay,
Like there's some zigzag pattern ones. There's the eye
Okay.
pattern ones.
I didn't
recreate
catch
it, so
that.
I've actually
I
studied it a little
LJ,
bit.
just show them the shirt. You're wearing it right now.
Oh, that's true. We have like a star, but it's incredibly less detailed because it's from Hot Topic, not. But no, I have spent a lot of time looking at those patterns and like also the patterns in the little bit of the crown that we see.
Mhm.
And I don't see any runes, but also I think runes might, in this case, be more about intention. So I don't know. Maybe it's while he was learning about witchcraft, he was making that sweater, and he's like, I don't know what any of these mean, but this is how it makes me feel.
right.
I thought those like drawings on his clothing were just simply an homage to the character design of like in
That's
his
what I
suit,
think.
like space
That
and
makes
everything.
sense.
I was like, D23, you can't fool me. I know that little gay boy anywhere.
Definitely. That's why down the side of his pants there's a panel and it's just got constellations drawn
Yeah.
on it.
So do y'all think that Teen could have put the sigil on himself?
Yes, 100%.
That's absolutely my theory.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's either that or whatever lingering thing that put Billy into this body was also kind of came with a sigil.
That
And
was
it's
my
from
original
Wanda
thought.
or something.
That was my original thought.
You can kind of see the symbols on like the side of his jeans. I don't know if it'll show through the computer, but
Cute.
I was too broken by Easter egg hunting and WandaVision to care that much about the pattern on jeans. I'm sorry, I cannot do it. I am incapable.
oh, I'm extremely capable. As somebody who has all of the WandaVision runes tattooed on me, I know my runes.
Well,
Oh,
that
that's
means
sick.
only you can
That
cast
is
magic
sick.
inside your body. That's neat.
Dang it.
That is freaking great.
That's what he said.
No casting inside of me, unfortunately.
Oh.
So
Anywho,
is
so
Salem
Agatha.
7?
Anyhow. So how about the whole set that we haven't talked about? Because me as an elder
Salem-
millennial going like, yo, can someone hit me with some jarts?
Also, can we talk about the fact how at the 80s sleepover, all of them were like the 80s sleepover girls, but then Patti LuPone was dressed as the mom?
I
Yeah.
loved it. I was like, of course you would. Be the mother.
It was amazing. But how all of their like trinkets and stuff were in their costume design.
Mhm.
And so we can go through the list. So we have Agatha's brooch as like a friendship bracelet. We had Rio had a little leaf symbol on her breast pocket. Jen had her potion bottle into her onesie. Alice had her necklace kind of represented in her pigtails. I don't know. Who the hell else is in this one? Did I get them all?
The Casio watches. I mean, my God.
Yes.
Yeah. The trial
Made me want to
was,
buy one.
as the kids say, a vibe. The trial was absolutely a vibe.
Yeah, it
My favorite part of that vibe was in the first, like, they get in, they're like, okay, cool. The Salem 7 didn't follow us in here. That's neat. Let's all explore. And when they explore, Alice goes over to a corner and finds what appears to be a crochet knitted tire swing, which is amazing.
Yes.
I
Yes.
rewatched the episode and like rewound it because I was like, what is happening in this treehouse?
I noticed. Yep. I also noticed the tire swing.
That's great.
Now,
We
as
also
funny
have
as it
so
was-
many board games, more than anybody would ever be able to use.
Well, I have an actual real life funny story about that. My cousin years ago and my aunt won a car full of Milton Bradley board games back like in 1980, whatever. I can find the picture somewhere. So there was always way too many board games at their house. But instead of the Ouija board, what other game do you guys think they could have used in place? I'm going to go out there and say Life.
Mhm.
Scrabble.
Mousetrap.
Mousetrap. We said it at the same time.
Yeah.
That's
The old
cool.
one, not the new one.
Yeah, absolutely. Or
What-
Grape
okay.
Escape. I would also give you Grape Escape.
What's that game? It's not Candy Crush, Candyland? That one?
Candyland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They could have thrown in a good old Magic 8 Ball in there too, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
That's fair.
What game did you say,
Say,
Megan?
which one of us will die next?
Yeah,
If
right.
they had just
Scrabble.
happened,
Ooh, Scrabble.
if they had just happened to pick a random other board game, they wouldn't have got possessed at all. Like,
They would have just had a really fun sleepover.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was it. Depended on the board game they picked.
What do we
You
think would have happened at the 30-minute mark for this trial, though? Because the other ones had like clear, here's what would happen at the 30 minutes. What would have happened at the 30-minute mark for this one? Like Alice died. What did we abstain from?
I think Agatha would have turned in, like, would have stayed possessed as like that demon thing and tried to eat them. But like that's going to an extreme.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of buy that, honestly. Like, I don't see anything else that's really clear other than, yeah, she stays possessed, or there's some sort of like, you know, you just get yeeted from the witch's road and you lost. I don't know.
I mean, they did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
This
do
was a
love-
very odd like trial compared to the other two.
I do love all the horror aspects, like from different horror movies, you know, throughout the years. That was very incorporated in it. Like, you know, Agatha in the Gown, you know, gave a very Exorcist, you know, look when she was possessed. But then you had like a little Hereditary stuff thrown in there. What else? I feel like there was like 3 or 4 little famous horror movie things thrown in there.
Teen's outfit really reminded me of like some Freddy Krueger type stuff
Yeah.
that they wore in
Yeah.
those movies.
Yeah. Freddy Krueger,
looks so
Jason.
cute.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is now I expect demons or poltergeists in every episode. We have set a standard and we've set a pattern. Demons in every episode.
I'm just loving all the practical effects.
Yes.
What do we think
Yeah.
is going to be the next themes for the next trials? Now that we've kind of, we've done like the Real Housewives, we've done, you know, docudrama, we've done 80s Fright Night, we've done, you know, groovy 70s vibe. What other ones do you think we could get?
I think
I
Patty
think it's-
LuPone's would be something like way, way back. I think it's like, you know, everybody's thinking
Yeah.
we're going to keep going throughout the decades. And I think we're going to do a way
See-
retro back, like 1800s type thing.
I'm
So you
telling
think like
her
Errol
trial
Flynn?
is-
Like what?
Oh, wait, I'm going to show my age and just useless knowledge. Errol Flynn, anybody?
Oh. Hmm.
Thank you again. I'm too old for this thing tonight. The
I
old
think I
medieval Robin Hood
100%
and so on. and so
Okay.
forth.
Yeah. I think it's going to be something like that. Kind of like what her first flash
Her delusion.
with her teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patty LuPone's trial is going to be definitely the one with all the stereotypical witches because she keeps complaining about all these stereotypes
Yeah.
of witches.
Yeah.
And so her trial is with the Wicked Witch, and they're all going to
the Wizard of Oz thing. That's right.
Yeah.
And
You're right.
Idina Menzel comes out and starts singing, "So if you care to find me."
And then our end credit scene is actually going to be a little clip of Wicked at the end of the movie is getting ready to come out.
Tickets now on sale. Boom.
I mean,
Wrong studio.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to
Done
say,
so well.
if Disney was in charge of Wicked, I could 100% see that being advertised.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Lisa Simpson is already in the credits, so I
Lisa
think
Man,
Simpson is in the
anymore.
credits.
Yeah, I think the credits are so cool every time up until they get to
Oh,
Lisa
yeah.
Simpson. It just pulls me out of it. Like,
It's a
funny
little
because it
jarring.
is. Yeah, it's just jarring. Like, I don't mind that she's there. I love The Simpsons. It's just I'm not expecting it in this Marvel.
It throws off that vibe.
Yes.
Yes, it tosses the vibe. It does feel a
Yeah.
little bit like Disney was like, well, we own this, so
Yeah, exactly.
We're doing this just because we can.
yeah.
Yeah, they had a little too much Riz on it at the end, you know.
Yeah.
Now you're not showing your age. He said Riz. Look at this guy.
Pop culture connoisseur. Thank you very much.
But with no skibbity. No skibbity Riz.
Skibbity toilet.
Oh man.
I have too much Riz on my own. I don't need no skibbity.
If that lasts longer than 4 hours, you got to call a doctor, bud.
True.
Now, sometimes 5 is okay, but past that. Depends what color it is.
Whoa. So what did you guys think of the Salem 7?
Hey, they were great.
More of them. All 2
Yeah.
seconds of them were great.
Now,
I love
We've
the
gotten enough
flying
of
on
the
the broom, but
Well, I like that they changed the comic accuracy of it. Originally, for those who don't know, the Salem 7 was Nicholas Scratch's children, so Agatha's
Mhm.
grandchildren. Instead,
Mhm.
now they're the children of her victims of the Coven.
I like that
Yeah.
though. I'm glad
That
they.
was cool.
Mhm.
I think it was a good change.
It was cool and it was really succinct. It wasn't like here's this convoluted ass family tree as to why these
Yeah.
people matter. It was like
Mhm.
she killed her first coven, their children are still here. That's it.
Yeah, I
and
love
like
I love that
a lot.
streamliningness, and that's why
Yes.
I'm really worried about Billy's backstory. I hope it's not too convoluted because it's so
Hard save.
convoluted in the comics.
well,
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say, because if you're doing Billy in the MCU, like, we have to simplify some stuff, because it would take 17 projects to properly, like, there's just no way.
The simplest and best way I think would be like just that creation that Wanda made of Billy went into this kid. Yes, that is the most simplest solution. I also hate it because it's supposed to, everything disappeared. So like, why did this one thing?
Like, I agree with you, Wen. I really feel like it's just going to be something similar and simple to that extent. My thought was, hypothetically, what if 3 years ago, supposedly that was when the Westview anomaly happened, and when Wanda was taking down the Hex in Eastview at the same time when it was all taken down and the kids Wanda's kids died, Billy got into the car crash at the same time. So then that kid, Billy's soul, magically went over to the teen soul who was in the car crash, who they were like, we thought you were going to die and you didn't, but like it was actually a soul swap situation. And now Wanda's kid living with these new people in Eastview.
But I
They
think
Freaky Friday, but one was like, wait a minute, I don't have a body to go to. This isn't fair.
Yeah.
here's
That's
where
Quantum
I
Leap.
still think that with Mount Wanda Gore falling on top of Wanda, why I still think it's her so splitting and going to them. Because here's the thing: 3 years ago when that Hex fell down, say that happened, Wanda would have sensed something. Something would have led Wanda to him while she was on this journey, to find her kids,
Yeah.
anyways. So I don't think as much as most of that makes sense to me. I think that one little bit there is what throws that off, though, because Wanda would have sensed it. She would have came to him. Something would have drawn her to him if that was the case. So that's why I really think that the so split and if that's the route they go, I really think it was when Wanda died, because other than that, if it was before that and when the Hex happened, like she would have figured it out, or something would have drawn her to it, and she would have figured it out. I think, because I just don't see how, with as strong as she was and as jumping through these universes and having the dark code, I just don't see how she wouldn't have known that.
I think
That
to
makes sense, 'cause that we're talking
MCUify
about
it
that.
all.
Cameron got it.
Yeah, I think that this Billy is going to be a Billy from a different universe, because I think that's what the MCU is doing. And I know that that's not a great answer, but I think that the MCU's direction is multiverse. And so I think the reveal is going to be that when Wanda created the original Hex, she pulled her sons in from somewhere. That there was another universe's Billy and Tommy that came into the Hex. And when the Hex fell, those two in their own universes were, haunted with memory or dreamwalked or whatever they call it of their experience in the Westview Hex. And now this Billy has gone and found some Etsy version of the Darkhold to get himself to this universe to try to track Wanda down.
But
That's my long call, and I don't love that. I just think that's what the MCU is doing right now.
My question for you, Matt, then would be, in the long-term scheme of things, we all know that they're heading toward the Young Avengers, whether you like it or not. And personally, I love it. Where do you think Tommy would be then? Would he? Where do you think? Where?
I don't want to be that guy, but I'm gonna be that guy. I don't think we're going towards Young Avengers anymore. I don't think we're doing it. I think that was pre everybody that works for Marvel goes to a cabin and asks what we do post Jonathan Majors. And I think that a lot of the long shot things that we've been calling since WandaVision are gone to the wayside. I'm stoked to get more Kate Bishop and Elena Belova. And I also was like, man, Young Avengers is going to be dope. I do not think that Marvel is heading that direction anymore. And I hope that I'm wrong. But that's my answer to you on that question, Matthew.
They could easily still have the team, but with a different name, because at this point they'll be reasonably aged Avengers. So
yes, the YoPro Avengers,
champions, the new champions, anything. It doesn't have to be Young Avengers. It could still be the same characters.
So not trying to go obviously.
They could go champions.
Go against anybody's thoughts, but this is my question. Just wondering, thinking of these new theories I'm hearing. It's so with Cameron, he says, the sigil would have definitely blocked Wanda from seeing his power. Okay, then who put the sigil on him? Why would he put the sigil on himself at that young of an age or whatever? And then my other thing is what you said with maybe she pulled these people, their kids in from another universe through the Hex. But she really didn't learn nothing to do with multiverses until after WandaVision, and she, educated herself with the Darkhold. So everything in the Hex was literally just an illusion she created that had nothing to do with multiversal anything. So I just don't see either. And then at the same time, I'm thinking also just a million things popping through my head as I'm hearing these new theories, and I love it. But then I'm also thinking well, if she pulled them in, and then we get the whole multiverse of madness, wouldn't that just kind of be a little, Wanda just died and did all of this when her kids were here the whole time, type thing. I don't know. So these are different thoughts now that are popping in my head after I hear all these theories.
There's so many different ways they could go because Tommy and Billy, they aged up in WandaVision. So they could have simply just been he did it one more time.
Yeah.
I think there's so many ways.
Yeah. I agree with what Cameron's saying, that the idea that Team Maximov, whatever the frick his name is, Ski, maybe did put the sigil on himself, and it was his own self-protection spell. Let's do 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Let's say that this is a manifestation from another dimension, especially like we saw in Multiverse of Madness, going, Mom, don't do that. Well, maybe it did come over, and it's okay, well, I'm just going to protect myself from this crazy. So now we're good, and this is where we're at.
Yeah. I don't think, I'll just throw it out real quick because then I can put a lid on this and I don't need to talk about it anymore. I do think that whatever happened in the Hex was not Wanda's intention. I think everything that came into that Hex started as an accident, and her ability to pull in from out of a universe. I think she came to realize at the end of WandaVision, my kids are still out there. the My Billy and Tommy are somewhere. Like that's the post-credit scene of WandaVision is her searching the multiverse for her kids, and the insinuation is that she finds them out there somewhere. And then she goes Multiverse of Madness and just dies. And that's
Multiverse of Madness did admit she's like, I found a set of my kids in every single universe but mine.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What if at that end credit scene for WandaVision, it wasn't a multiverse Billy that she heard yelling out for? It was just the kid like across the street.
Oh, Billy.
I feel like you guys are still sleeping on Rio here, because let's think the first few episodes we're all like, who's Rio? Who's working for Rio? Who is she controlled? And who is she working with? We all got off that Mephisto's train shockingly fast. So we still don't know who Rio is. I see you, Tom. I see you.
I'm going to be completely honest, Megan. I love the enthusiasm. I'm so here for it. Ever since the Funko leak, it has lost my interest.
That we're not confirming or denying anything.
Oh, true. I don't know anything. I'm just talking. I'm just a random kid. But sorry,
folks. He's an actor.
I'm acting right now. I'm actually no.
The acting is in the room with us.
Takes. But
Scooby Doo.
Ever since like this information came out about Rio through supposed leak, it's been nice as a viewer to see the little nods that could allude to it. I don't think if Rio is what that character says that they are, there's no need to work for anyone else at that point, which is why I'm kind of like, okay, I could kind of sit back on your mystery and just enjoy while I'm over here hyperfixating on little boy, child, teen.
Which is fair, but I'm saying like in every theory, we're not really talking about Rio at all, because what if she put the sigil on him? Because if she is who we're all theorizing she is, she would know who's died, who hasn't died, who's who. So
and she'd be able to see if it's a different. Yeah,
exactly.
She'd also be able to see if there was another soul in a body or something that shouldn't be.
Exactly.
Do we think
Rio has powers like the Death Note guy, and she just sees everybody's real name and date, date of death of everybody?
I wish that they had brought that into Thor: Love and Thunder for Jane Foster, or with the Valkyries, because that's the way it is in the comic book. She sees like a little skull above people's heads.
So do you think with Rio that she is just all right? Can I say it? Like who? I mean,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Warning.
Well, I mean,
Spoiler
warning. I feel like, yeah. I mean, well, we're talking. Yeah. Anyways, so I mean, we see the tarot card. It says death. It's got her Rio's dagger in her hand. I mean, we got so many things leading up to it. She talks about her black heart. And all these bodies. Yeah. So
there's too many hints for her chuckle about death.
Right. We think that we've seen Marvel combine characters and make them into one. Do we think that Rio is just straight up death, or do we think that this is a point where Marvel MCU combined a character, with the Green Witch and Death and kind of collaborated them and made them into one character that's something with deliberate twist that we know. Because otherwise, she's not a witch at all. I mean, if she's just a love interest, Death, and
well, I mean, she could have been a witch before she became Death. I mean, Lilith and like biblical stuff was a witch.
Okay.
And on top of that, green witches do deal with life and death. It's the whole circle itself.
Right. And that's where I was thinking they combined
there and then became death itself. Again, we're not confirming or denying anything. It would make sense. There's always has to be someone to take up the role.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, it makes sense for Death to be a green witch, like nature, all that.
Right. That's where I was thinking, like,
just you're living for all of her cackles.
I think that Agatha sort of said it out loud last episode 4, I think, when she was like, she's just a tourist or she's just a spectator or something like that. Like, I do think that Rio is Lady Death. I was on we were doing my podcast and somebody mentioned like, isn't Hela also the goddess of death? And I think that's interesting. And I haven't really squared that circle yet. But
I mean, different religions, different things. I mean, we saw in Love and Thunder.
That would be a
there's all
great
kinds
what if
of
episode though,
gods.
like low key if they teamed up. I'd watch.
Yeah. But I think that Death has some stake with Agatha Harkness because they boned. But I think that Death has some stake with Agatha Harkness, and she is truly just watching whatever is going on. She's along for the ride.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
she's like, if I don't kill you, I want to see what does.
Yeah, because I don't think that she's allowed to. I think that, like, she said, or Agatha said, like, it's against the rules.
Do you think Rio is pulling strings in the back to make sure Agatha gets to the end of the road?
So she just screwed up.
I think that Rio and Teen have some type of, like, I think that they met each other before the first episode. Or there's something going on relationship-wise with them that we just have.
Because didn't Teen actually pop up at her house, breaking into her house the same time Rio was in the house with her? Actually?
Yep.
At the very first episode?
Yes.
Agatha said one other witch made it down the road with her, and it probably was either Nicholas and she trained him, or it was Rio, and Rio's wish granted was to become death. That would make sense.
I like this because that's basically the plot of Pirates of the Caribbean 2, and I think that's really fun.
Stop.
I'm still familiar with the storyline anyways, Disney is.
Yeah, I mean, Disney is known for making same endings.
What scripts can we pull out?
Right.
Yeah, like, we own this, we own this, we own this.
Yeah, we don't rotoscope anything.
All right.
What if Billy searched out Rio, who's death, who may be death? I don't know. Spoiler alert. To look for Wanda. That's how they know each other.
Reverse
and
it.
she she said, go down the road and you'll get Wanda, and she's using Billy too.
Yeah, and maybe that's where he got all his knowledge about Agatha was from Rio.
Yeah, because we still don't know how he knows about Agatha. It's not like there's posters of her in malls or something, but he acted like there were.
I mean, he's a scarred child from Agatha's shenanigans, so...
There's a Reddit.
I didn't think about that before, but that makes a lot of sense.
It does.
Because Teen could have summoned, because if we go back to what we said way earlier about how those are the spells that Wanda used to maybe try to summon her kids or find her kids or whatever, what was irrelevant. So Teen could have found a summoning spell for death once her kids died from X or whatever, or just some type of summoning spell that he inserted death into. And that's how we got the next summoning spell that also summoned the same person again. I don't know. There could be something.
Mephisto.
Cthon.
I agree. I
okay.
Cthon more than Mephisto.
Yeah.
Rio said she had a black heart, and Blackheart is Mephisto's son. So if you wanna do this level of bad shit with me, I'm down. But it's bad.
Well, that would go in with the combining characters.
Yeah.
Well, what if Agatha and the other two got thrown off, sunken down into the ground, right? By Wiccan. All right. So what if we see all of a sudden Rio go down to the Hell Realm? We get a little cameo of Mephisto, and she's grabbing them three, like, we ain't done yet, and brings them back out of the Hell Realm, back to the road, and then they continue on.
Okay.
Only if Mrs. Hart is there, and she's like, I don't like this place.
Oh, no. What if she's knitting for Mephisto, and she falls in love with him, and that's Mephisto's new woman? Mrs. Hart. Because Mr. Hart's dead.
Just gut reaction. Fan cast Mephisto. Gut reaction. Go.
Honestly, Aubrey Plaza. I'm not allowed to pick that one.
Not Sacha Baron Cohen, so I'll take anyone.
No.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I kind of don't mind it. I feel like it'll be interesting, but that's just me.
Like what you like.
Unpopular opinion over here. It's fine.
I was gonna say Peter Fonda, but he died. So
Al Pacino.
Al
A fan
Pacino's
cast, not a
pretty
real cast.
wild. I kind of like Al Pacino as Mephisto.
Hey,
That's
how you doing?
crazy.
Make
Did
a
I
deal.
come down here to death?
Just for
All right. Oh.
funk and like shits and giggles. Oh wait, can I cuss? I don't know. Just for like funniness, I feel like Natasha Lyonne would kind of be funny as Mephisto, and I don't.
Oh my god.
I got it. I got you. Beat. I got you. Beat.
Please.
You ready? Alanis Morissette.
Ooh,
Okay.
That's
Okay.
He's already done one. Might as well do the other.
one of the answers of all time.
yeah.
Austin Butler.
Austin.
That's
Austin
Gambit.
Butler
You
would be
leave him alone.
Oh, that's good too. This
That
follows
would be
Wow,
good.
my
I am on the
campaign to
Channing
get-
Tatum
That would be a
train.
big,
No,
that would be no. That would be a good
I'm with
Gambit
you,
for real.
Megan, on Gambit. Actually,
Oh,
I have my
man, yeah.
whole.
He's more the
I've
perfect
been
build.
working on a fan cast.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've
doesn't-
been working on an
and he-
excellent fan cast.
And he's so sexy. So, like, please.
Thank you.
Ha! Gets weird when I get to talk about girl things now after you guys talk about penises and stuff.
I have no qualms with that, but if we're gonna do Austin Butler, let me slide my answer of Jacob Elordi in there. Jacob
good one.
Elordi has said out loud that he doesn't want to be in a Marvel movie, and personally, I don't care
Yeah.
because I want him in a Marvel movie.
Well, that's unfortunate for him because we have
Yeah.
options.
I'm still trying to figure out who I want to play Mephisto.
I'm trying to think of another person.
I mean, I like the actor who plays Lucifer in Lucifer. Was it
Detective.
Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I
Actually-
do like him.
The-
But I don't know if he'd want to do another devil role.
People would lose their mind, honestly, if they picked him to be Mephisto. Like, I mean, a good lose their mind. Just because
Mhm.
Lucifer is such a well-loved show, and him to
Yeah.
play the devil, like, it would be good. It really would be a good cast, and people would lose their mind. And honestly,
Mhm.
whatever they brought him into, it would probably just bump up the ratings and their money on that show or movie, just because you would have
It
so many
would.
non-Marvel fans and Lucifer fans come just to watch him in that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then they'd be like, Lucifer's canon.
I mean, he took a break from playing Lucifer. He also had a role on Netflix. I mean, granted, he was a cartoon cat, but he has played God now, so he can go back to playing Lucifer.
Okay,
Yeah.
what do you play God?
I mean,
in?
Yeah.
He was Godcat in Exploding Kittens.
Oh, that I was like,
Okay.
I know that show.
That was a
Not gonna-
crazy
That was a-
sentence.
It was a fever dream.
What do you got, Meg?
See, I do think he'd be a great casting, but he's my casting for Mr. Sinister. So
Ah,
good
that's
one.
interesting.
They
would
should
be-
use Lucifer from Supernatural. That
yeah.
guy can play
Yeah.
a dark character.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
My
Mhm.
last one that I'll throw out there is Tom Sturridge, who is Dream in Netflix's Sandman, which is
Oh.
basically just different Mephisto.
Yeah.
I think that'd be really good.
And can we give a
Might
quick
be.
shout out since you said it? How good Sandman it was in Netflix
Oh, so
the
good.
first season. Like,
So good.
oh
we
my
still
god,
haven't watched it.
Ah,
y'all
what are you
are-
doing?
No,
It's so good.
season
I've
two's
been
about to
meaning
come out,
to
right?
for so long. We have not had time, and then when we have had time, we're like,
Oh.
all right, let's just watch something fun.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. Like it's
Yeah,
wildly
we need
phenomenal.
to check it out. I mean, I haven't watched The Witcher yet either. I've tried to watch it like 3 times. I keep falling off of that.
You got about a good
Yeah.
season and a half to get through, and that's
I know.
really it.
That's what we hear.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Wrapping up, do we have any last questions, comments, concerns, theories? I don't know. What do you wait for lunch?
I spilled my guts out.
Yeah. I have nothing else.
Another episode 5 of a MCU show leaves us all traumatized.
yeah.
True.
For sure.
Sure
His
does.
name be
I was
the Gambit.
traumatized
You will
before,
remember
so
that.
there's not much difference. It's fine.
This has
But
been
I
low
guess-
key a therapy session for LJ. We've talked about moms. We've talked about trauma. We've gotten through a lot of stuff. We're here for you.
Oh, just wait. We have 4 more episodes.
There's a lot to unpack here. It's fine.
Therapy's expensive, y'all. It's very important, but it's very expensive. So thanks, Coven. So before we get off here, I want to give everybody else a turn to plug themselves. Again, say where people can find you. Or let's do one random question. One random Marvel character that you know won't show up in the show, but you want to see show up in the show. Got. Let's do Blake first, in order, since we switched around. It was Matt, but then Matt left because he wanted to be my other Matt, and it's all fair. All right.
Ghost Rider.
You don't think we'll go to Ghost Rider?
No, I don't think you're talking about just in the show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to see Ghost Rider.
Show.
Yeah.
Which one?
Johnny Blaze. I'd love to see. Like maybe we got a little quick cameo down in the Hell Realm, and they just like real quick in a passing motion show him becoming.
He's in the
Ghost
middle
Rider.
making his
Yeah, he's in the
deal.
Hell Realm,
Yeah.
and they just like bypass it like it's nothing, and then later on they bring him into the MCU. Yeah.
If Sharon Davis is a new Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
I want to see them
I'm
sitting
so
at a desk, like with little things, writing negotiation things, sliding across the table.
But yeah, that's who I picked. Ghost Rider, Fundamentals Podcast once a week. Find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Here soon we'll be on Spotify, Apple Music as well. But YouTube, man, that's the one we really push the hardest. So
It's so hard keeping up with so many different platforms. I'm like, all right, find it on YouTube, and I'll just post about YouTube.
yeah.
Megan, what about you?
Polaris, Wanda's sister.
That'd be tight.
That's a good one.
I know my original answer was Ghost Rider, but someone here decided to
Mine
jump on
too.
that train.
It just
you can find me everywhere at Vigilante Vibes Podcast, and you can find me in my non-toxic nerd group, the Nerd Haven, on Facebook. And yes, that's all I have.
one of the best groups I've ever been a part of. Also on Facebook. I just have to
My
say
God,
it for
thank
real.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
Yes,
you.
it's wonderful, and it's the only place for Marvel content most of the time. Tom.
So you will find me next week at New York Comic Con first and foremost. So if you do see me, come and find me. I have stickers. Aside from that, you can catch me at least 2 to 3 times a week here on the YouTubes and all the other social medias with Nerd Initiative, whether it's Monday Night TV Talk, Tuesday Night Tap. Wednesday, I always have a comic book review. And on Fridays, especially this Friday, we're going to be doing our Play for Keeps New York Comic Con preview. So we're going to talk everything that's fantastic and plastic.
I'm so jealous of you right now. New York Comic Con. That's one I want to make it to. But I can't this year.
Yeah.
But if anybody sees me out there, say hi. I have stickers.
I was about to say hi, come get a
It's a
sticker.
certain selling point. I mean, I would go say hi, even just say hi in person, but like stickers, sign me up.
Yeah.
I got no watermelon. I got to put some on.
You need to get like the tattoo.
Oh, wait, we need my fan casting, right?
Yes.
My character. One that has a very interesting history and has to do with death. Death's Head. Does anybody know who that is?
Yeah,
I do
I got
not.
you. I'm with you.
Okay. He has a very complicated history. Extremely
That's
complicated.
it. We talked about making backstories like less convoluted. Maybe we can find one. All right, let's do Matthew Benson.
Hi there. Well, thank you so much for inviting me onto your show, and I loved it so much. One character that I would like that to show up that probably won't, honestly, Quicksilver, but the MCU version, even though he probably won't, RIP. And you can find me on Instagram, _Matthew_Benson. I literally use my stories to either talk all about Agatha, Schitt's Creek, Heartstopper, or if I'm in a show, or going to Disney World. That's mainly the vibes.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
So the
I love
only
Schitt's
content.
Creek.
Oh, nothing more, nothing less.
We need to draw the ears.
You're watching Coven Chat. What shape would we make instead of the ears?
I feel like we should just do like this. Oh no, either a triangle for like the little pentagram. No, we should do what's it called? That I don't know shapes. I didn't do well in school. What's that shape? That 5-figure shape.
Pentagram?
That was a bow.
Pentagram.
Oh, it's a pentagon. You're right.
Pentagon.
That one. We should do that one.
Little execution.
Yes.
I'll just do my Power Ranger one. Thank you very much.
There we go. Tongue twister. All right, and I'm gonna say Matt 2, but not the lesser of the Matts.
Yeah, I can take that.
There's
I'll
no
roll with that.
lesser.
My answer was also Ghost Rider, but since that's been taken, I am gonna say I want my favorite character in the whole MCU to show up in this show, and that's Madison with 2 N's and 1 Y, but it's not anything from She-Hulk.
Yes.
That's the best one.
Give me Madison in hell. I need it. I need it so bad.
She's already been there.
I want her back.
See more. See the goat deal that she made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
the
my
MCU's
character.
anchor being.
And my name is Matt. I'm on a podcast called Debate This. You can find us wherever you get podcasts by searching for Debate This, or on social media at Debate This Cast. We're a comedy show about comic books and video games, and we also have a show called Avenge This, where we talk about things like this. We just put out an episode about Agatha last week, and you can find more information about that at Debate This Cast on all socials. And thanks for having me on.
Before I give my spiel, I'll let you give
I thought you were asking who my pick was. My pick is I thought about the whole casting of Mephisto thing, and I want it to be he interchanges between all kinds of different Marvel characters. He never, because the devil always takes different forms.
So Mephisto is the person that shows up.
Yeah, but not
So
as a
Shang
Mephisto
Tsung?
character. It could just be a random Marvel character. That's what I want.
All right. And where can we find you?
Bleeding Rainbow. My name is Wayne.
And take this real quick to make sure. All right, just to make sure that I can be heard. So I am LJ from Bleeding Rainbow Comics. The person that I want to cameo in this show that probably won't, unfortunately, is Sparky the dog. You can find me at all things Bleeding Rainbow Comics. That is our tag for Facebook, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, Snapchat. We have a lot of exciting things coming very soon, including a new comic release coming out this Wednesday, Spectrum number 5. So be looking at our socials, specifically Facebook, for any information about that, how to get a physical or a digital copy of Spectrum number 5, or a digital copy of 1 through 4, because we are sold out of most of the other ones.
Very nice.
For Bleeding Rainbow Comics, my name is LJ, and I'm sorry we won't get Sparky the dog. Thank you, Coven, for joining me today. Thank you, chat, for joining us today, and we shall see you next week. Bye.